Stop overcomplicating your battery sales. I can tell you firsthand as a former sales rep that I had a tremendously hard time actually quantifying the value of the battery to a homeowner. Too often, myself and other solar sales reps are focusing on the abstract when it comes to batteries. But what we should be doing is having real business conversations. As an industry, we've gotten really good with selling solar because what do we do with it? We have business conversations and show people the actual value that those panels are going to provide to their home. And that convinces them that this is a worthwhile investment. But for some reason, we don't do that with batteries. So what I'm proposing here today is that we look at battery storage for our customers in a way that provides value for them and us. And by doing that, it elevates the entire industry together. Now, when you talk to anybody who's sold batteries before and sold solar as a whole, they will tell you that customers are going solar and adopting energy storage for a few key reasons. Number one, and first and foremost, is they want energy savings. Largely, they're adopting this green energy because their utility rates are really high and they know there's a better way that they can save money. Of course, there's also the green environmental reasons that were and are still a big part of our industry, but by far and away, the most common reason that people are choosing to go with solar and storage is to save money in their energy. But they also want peace of mind and they want independence and self-sufficiency. And those last 2 points fall perfectly in the battery conversation. The fact that you can store excess energy and use it inside your house rather than have to send it out to the grid and get pennies for it is a perfect moniker for why batteries are important. And of course, that makes you more self-sufficient. But in terms of the energy savings, it's something that we as an industry and as solar sales reps haven't really approached with customers too much. I know I was one person who did it myself. I would walk into somebody's home, they were looking at batteries, and you sit at their kitchen table and you'd ask them questions like, how often do you lose power? How often are there grid blackouts? What's the value of all the food in your fridge? And you have a very abstract conversation. The problem with having abstract conversations around batteries is you're asking someone to put forth a fairly large investment for battery storage, but then the only value that you're bringing to their mind is replacing food inside their fridge or potentially running equipment in their house when they have a blackout that, unless you're living in some place in California, it doesn't happen all that often. But what we can do is have a real battery conversation where we look at the value of this and use the same methods that we use to sell people solar to show them the value that a battery can add to their system. So let's take a real example case. Let's say you have a 13.5 kilowatt hour battery. If you were going to charge that from excess energy that you would produce from your panels and then use that later in your house, you can realistically say that the value of the energy in that battery is equal to the retail rate. Because if they were to have to buy that energy otherwise later in the day, they'd be paying retail rate for it. Now, this is important to note that the entire conversation here when it comes to battery storage really works much better when providing value for homeowners who don't live in an area with retail rate net metering. If you're in one of the few places across the country that gives you one-for-one metering, then it doesn't really matter whether you send power up to the grid or keep it in your house because it's the same. But more and more of the country is changing their NEM policies so that when homeowners send power up to the grid, they're getting pennies on the dollar for it. And those are the ones that we can really show value adds to. So for that same 13.5 kilowatt hour battery, you're going to cycle it once per day. At the US average electric rate, about 16 cents per kilowatt hour, that means that battery is going to provide you about $2.16 a day into the house. First thing you're probably thinking is, well, your homeowner is going to say, that doesn't sound like a lot of money. But what do we do with solar? We urge our customers to look over the long term because that's where you really see the investment. And the battery is no different. It is a long-term investment that's going to provide continuous value into your house. So that same example that provides $2 a day, that's almost $800 over the course of an entire year. Over a 10-year period with that battery, which is most of the time the warranty life of it, that's almost an $8,000 value that goes into them, which is almost the cost that it would cover to put that in. If you push that over a 30-year value instead, that same equipment is almost $17,000 in value provided to the house. So that would more than cover the cost of them adding that battery on the front end. And if you live in an area too that has a lot more volatile rates that maybe increase more over time or are higher than that US average, those numbers are even higher to begin with. But this is the basic value conversation that you can have with homeowners. You can show them that the value that they can add with their system is more than just beyond emergency backup response, which is a nice cherry on top. You can actually show them there are real dollars and cents attached to them, and it makes sense to do. Otherwise, if they just send power out to the grid, they're going to be wasting their money because they're barely getting anything for it. And you can add on the value of this too if you are a solar insurance certified provider, because you can add on products like SI30 Total and SI30 Battery. With those products, not only are your customers covered for a 30-year for the parts and the labor associated with their system, but those homeowners get a one-time battery replacement after the manufacturer warranty period. So let's say the capacity drops below 50%. Those people who are covered by SI30 Total and SI30 Battery get a free replacement of their battery. So they have a brand new full capacity battery. When you look at that example, that homeowner is going to provide more than $25,000 worth of value to their home over a 30-year period, which is a 50% increase from someone who's not protected by the SI30 products. With those products, you can add insanely more value to a customer's home and provide against any labor costs and make sure they're protected for that period of time. But this is the value conversation we need to have and stop overcomplicating our battery sales. We need to have real business conversations because homeowners are more educated than ever. They know and they research, they look into the value, and they're looking for real, true value to their home. So if you want to sell more batteries and you want to provide more value to your homeowners, you have to be able to show them more value. You can find a free calculator that we made. You can download off our website at the link in the video description here and help this go through your conversation with homeowners. We'll also put a link in the video description for how to become a solar insurance certified provider if you aren't already one. If you liked the video, found it helpful, also make sure you leave a like, subscribe to channels. It really helps us out.